Hi, I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for joining me for this 30-minute yoga practice. I've got a yoga mat. If you find yourself without one, find some place in your house that's got some carpeting, or maybe you've got a nice sturdy rug that can act as your yoga mat for today. I just don't want you to be on something that's going to slip out from underneath you, or anything that's a surface that's too hard and slick, like not a hardwood floor, for example. I've got 2 yoga blocks. A terrific substitute for that would be 2 thick books. And I have a folded blanket from my couch. You could use a beach towel or a bath towel, something that might be nice to either fold up and sit on or pad our knees. You can always steal something from your couch, a cushion, a pillow. It's sort of fun, actually, to get creative with our props. We'll start in a child's pose today. So child's pose looks different for all of us, and it should. You might hear it instructed as sink your hips towards your heels, but if you've got knee stuff, that's not going to be the instruction for you. If you've got knee stuff, you might use that folded blanket right now underneath your knees. You can also curl your toes under. That can be very helpful. You can take your knees wider or closer together, and perhaps you walk your hands forward and use a block or something to aim your forehead for, and your child's pose could look a little bit more like this. If it feels okay to uncurl your toes and to start to sink your hips towards your heels, we're all going to be in different places with this. And I want you to listen to your body, not to think there's a right or a wrong way for it to look, but actually for it to feel and to understand that you are the expert of your own body, and I'm just a guide. So with our arms forward, maybe our forehead on the ground or on a block or on our folded blanket, let's take this opportunity to turn the arrows of attention inward and to stop so that we can start. Start to pay attention to your breath. Really pay attention to your breath. Notice every inhale and every exhale. You can feel it in your lungs. You can feel the tickle of it underneath your nostrils. And energetically, you can feel that your inhale is full of some potential and that your exhale drops you in, grounds you, calms you even. Come on to hands and knees. Press into your hands so we don't sink into our joints, and you can try that on for size. Push into your hands and feel that you're pushing the ground away and using muscles as opposed to if you sink. And let's keep that integrity of musculature. And then tuck your tailbone, and then with a little sass, tilt your tailbone towards the sky. So a little bit of a cat-cow. We're going to keep that nice solid upper body as we tuck our tailbone. And then we let our tailbone go towards the sky. One more time. Tuck your tailbone like you've got a little tail between your legs. And this time, as you shoot your tailbone towards the sky and you keep pushing into your hands, curl your toes under, and then let the hook in your tailbone, the imaginary hook in your tailbone, and the oomph into your arms take you to our first down dog. So your tailbone, your hips are moving as if they could towards the corner where your ceiling and wall meet up. Step your feet as wide as your mat. Bend your knees quite deeply. Be on the balls of your feet. And then as you press even more rigorously into your arms, note that you can lengthen side body, back body, front body. Your whole torso feels like it's a little bit longer. Walk your feet forward to your hands. We arrive at the front edge of our mat with our feet hip distance and parallel. Slide your hands to your shins, and then slide your hands down a little bit. Slide your hands up now all the way to your thighs, and use your hands on your thighs to press into your hands and grow even longer. Increase the hinge at your hips, and you could slide your hands back down, but this time be very aware of keeping that space in your spine we just found. With your belly firm, we will inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky, a V shape, and then float your arms along your sides, palms facing out, but it's not a flick of our wrists. It feels as though we have arrived at our palms facing out by way of our shoulders. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V shape. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to your thighs or shins or ankles. Slide your hands up your shins, bend your knees as deeply as you need to get your hands flat on your mat, and then step back to a downward facing dog. Remember, we're pushing into our arms the whole time. You might decide that hip distance works for your legs or keep them wider. And now shift so that your shoulders are over your wrists and find that muscle integrity, pushing the ground away that we talked about when we were on our hands and knees. Go back to down dog. Let that be the hook in your tailbone that takes you. Come to plank, shoulders over wrists. Remember, we're not dropping into our joints. And then one more time, hips take us up and back into our down dog. Our last time we shift shoulders over wrists into plank, but this time plant your knees down. It's a little further back in space than when we were on our hands and knees. We'll keep our toes curled under right now, and remember that we don't want to sink into our shoulder joints. You actually continue to push the ground away as you lower. Your elbows will brush your ribs, and we come all the way to our bellies. Once we're on our bellies, uncurl your toes now and bring your forearms parallel to the long edges of your mat. Give a little press into your elbows and then drag your elbows towards you. They're not going to actually move anywhere, but they're moving your chest through the gateway of your arms. Press into the tops of your feet so that your kneecaps lift. We're energizing our legs. We're educating our back bend. And then we'll lower down and see if we can slide our hands next to our ribs. Elbows don't flop out to the side. They stay snug against our ribs, not pinching anything, but just nice and close. And then drag your hands or return to Sphinx with your forearms down and activate your legs a little bit. Lower down, curl your toes under. We come to all fours in one chunk. And then the hook in our tailbone takes us to down dog, so hips up and back. Walk your feet forward to your hands. We're hip distance and parallel. Glide your hands up, inhale. Slide your hands down, exhale. We will inhale, rise, reach thumbs to the sky, a V, and then we stand with our arms along our sides, palms facing out. We'll flow that all together. Inhale, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs or shins or ankles. Glide your hands up, inhale, bend your knees. Palms need to be flat. We walk back with the hook in our tailbone, taking us to down dog. Now come to plank, shoulders over wrists, and bring your knees to your mat. Remember, we're still pushing the ground away, even as we lower all the way onto our bellies. Uncurl your toes for either cobra or bring your forearms down for Sphinx pose. Lower down, curl your toes under. We come through all fours, and then we let the hook in our tailbone take us into downward facing dog. From down dog, gently bring your knees to your mat. I'm going to turn sideways so that it's easier to see me, but you can stay upon your mat. We're on all fours, and we're designing a side plank. So we will take right hand, right knee, and left foot all down the middle line of our mat. You might choose to pad your right knee with your folded blanket. You also might choose to curl your right toes under. And then a very important key here is to hug that right hip underneath us. I want this to be playful, so don't worry about it if it stays right like this. It's a pretty great place to play. I don't want you to collapse into that right shoulder, so oomph, like we did with both arms. And then here's something to play with. What if you tried to lift your left leg? What if you lifted your left arm? And if you tumbled and fell, just remember, being playful means you're not perfect, but you're perfectly playful. How about that? 3 moments here. We take ourselves very seriously as we become grown-ups, and then we just stop trying anything. Not us, though. We're playful. Playful kids, bring your left hand onto your hip, bring your left foot onto your mat, and then onto all fours and onto our second side. So I'm moving around in ways that you don't need to, but I want to make sure you can see me. Left hand, left knee, right foot, all on the middle of your mat, and that left hip now needs to hug underneath us with our right hand on our top hip. It's already fun. It's already playful balance fun. Maybe you stay like this. Maybe you decide to lift that right leg and that right arm up to the sky and to float a little bit. And remember, if we tumble and fall, it's all part of the game. We have a chuckle, we come back up. 2 moments. Release that all down onto all fours. From all fours, make it downward facing dog. So curl your toes under, and then we'll let our hips lift us up and back. That's one way to play with side plank. Here's another way. We'll come to plank, oomph into our arms. We'll rotate to the outside of our right foot, inside of our left foot, and see if we can't bring our left arm up to the sky. We need to lift our hips up pretty high. Take that left hand down, spin on your toes, go to down dog. Maybe go to child's pose in between sides with your knees down. Remember where we started? And then we'll come to plank and roll to the outside of our left foot, inside of our right foot, and see if we can't convince our right arm up to the sky. Unravel, spin on your toes, go to down dog. And then walk your feet to your hands. Feet are hip distance and parallel. Slide your hands up, inhale. Glide your hands down, exhale. Inhale, rise, reach thumbs to the sky, a V shape, and then we pause with our arms along our sides. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V shape. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs, shins or ankles. Glide your hands up your thighs, inhale. Bend your knees, palms go flat, we step to down dog. Once we're in down dog, lift your right leg back behind you and step it forward. It's likely you'll help it along. Get your 2 books, trot them to either side of that right foot. Walk your right foot a little bit to the right so it doesn't seem like we're on a tightrope too much. We learned a little bit about playing with balance in our 2 side planks. The same is true in our lunges. Bend your back knee, upright your torso, and we're in crescent pose. There's a V shape of your arms overhead. You might choose to instead take your arms very wide out to the side. All good. 2 moments here. Take your hands, maybe by way of your blocks, to your mat, and we're in down dog. And then once we're in down dog, either stay here or shift shoulders over wrists, bring your knees to your mat. Lower all the way down onto your belly. Uncurl your toes into cobra or sphinx pose. Lower down, curl your toes under in one chunk to all fours, and then back to down dog. Lift your left leg back behind you. Step it through, no shame in helping it along. Trot your 2 blocks to either side of that left foot and walk your left foot to the left so that we've got the benefit of a little bit more balance. Bend your right knee, your back knee, and then we upright our torso into our crescent pose. It can be a V shape. You can take your arms wide. Just a couple moments. I've asked you to put a little bend in your back knee. You're welcome to play with straightening that a bit, but if it's pitching things forward or dumping into your low back, there's no point in worrying about that bit. Hands to your blocks or to eventually to your mat. And we come to down dog. And then walk your feet forward to your hands. We're hip distance and parallel. Slide your hands up, inhale. Glide your hands down, exhale. Inhale, rise. Reach thumbs to the sky. And then let's stand in our mountain. Palms facing out. Remember, a little soft bend to your knees. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to thighs, shins, or ankles. Glide your hands up, inhale, palms go flat, we step to down dog. From down dog, lift your right leg back behind you, step it forward into our lunge. Feel free to trot your blocks into the mix and maybe even walk your right foot over to the right. We come upright, V-shaping our arms to the sky in our crescent pose, and then take your hands to your blocks, move your blocks forward about a foot, lift your left leg, we're in a letter T. So blocks are pretty helpful right about now. If you don't have them, you can put your fingertips on the ground. That has a tendency to collapse our bodies towards the ground as well. 2 moments here. Step left foot hip distance from right, hands to thighs, lift your heart, inhale. hinge as we exhale, and then we'll rise, reach thumbs to the sky, and stand here in our mountain. You might want to move your blocks out of the way, and then we'll inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to thighs, shins, or ankles. Glide your hands up, inhale, palms flat. We step to our down dog. And once we're in down dog, lift your left leg behind you, step it through, help it along, trot your blocks into the mix, upright your chest into a crescent lunge once again. And then hinge forward, take your blocks forward, launch into a letter T that's standing upon your left leg. And we pause a moment or two here. Step your right foot hip distance from your left. Scoot your blocks if you'd like to. Hands to thighs is kind of nice here. Lift your heart. Inhale. Exhale, hinge at your hips. Then we inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky, and we stand into our mountain. We'll add a new friend to our little sequence we've got going. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs, shins, or ankles. Glide your hands up. Inhale, palms flat, down dog. Lift your right leg back behind you. Step that right foot forward. Use your blocks as you upright your torso and V-shape or arms wide. Hinge at your waist. Take your blocks forward. Step into your letter T. Ready? Take your left knee into your chest. Give it a squeeze here. Just see if we can find some balance. If you fall over, remember, we're all about being playful. Speaking of being playful, you'll now slide your left hand down your foot and feel like you're kicking yourself in the butt. Just do your best, balanced here. Right arm to the sky, thumb to the sky. You might kick that leg a little bit back behind you. And we balance. Crazy kids that we are. 2 moments in what's called King Dancer pose. How can that not be playful? Then carefully let go of that foot. We're in a chair pose, thumbs to the sky, hands to your thighs. Lift your heart, inhale. Hinge a little bit as you exhale. And then we rise, reach, thumbs to the sky, V shape, arms along your sides. You can leave your blocks if they're not in your way or scoot them back to our original position for side 2. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs, shins, or ankles. Glide your hands up, inhale. Bend your knees deeply, step back, down dog. Lift your left leg behind you, step it through, help it along. We make our way up into our crescent lunge. We hinge at our hips, take our blocks in front of us, letter T our body standing on our left leg. And then bring that right knee into your chest. Just do your best to come up to standing. If you wobble and fall, so do I, all the time. Once we're here, it's a kick of your foot towards your butt. And you'll just see if you can reach back and find that foot. And if you can't, the prize is in the reach. Left arm to the sky, thumb to the sky. And you might kick that right leg a little bit back behind you. Remember, it's just silly good fun here in King Dancer pose. Carefully, step it down, chair pose, thumbs to the sky. We'll take our hands on our thighs, lift your heart, inhale. Hinge as we exhale. And then just rise, reach. I'm moving my blocks as I go. I'm an organized Virgo that way. I want to put everything back in its place. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs, shins, or ankles. Inhale, lift your heart, palms go flat. We step to down dog. Lift your right leg behind you, step it through, help it along. Up we go into our crescent. So we're adding one more friend to our sequence. Hinge at your waist. Letter T your body with your blocks probably underneath your hands. Bring your left knee into your chest. And then King Dancer. So if you can't reach the foot, that's fine. The prize, like I said, is in the reach. Left hand is reaching to the pinky side of your foot. One last little shenanigan here. Take your arms to the sky, thumbs to the sky. Bend your right knee and see if you can pretend that you're sitting cross-legged in a seat and take your left knee over your right knee. Some people might double cross it. One cross is perfect. You could even put your toes on one of your blocks, so left toes there. And then reach out in front of you like you're going to give someone a hug. That someone is you, right elbow over left elbow, and we pause. Unravel it to our chair. Hands to your thighs. Lift your heart, inhale. Hinge as we exhale, then we rise. Reach thumbs to the sky, and we pause with our arms along our sides. Last of all of our flow. Inhale, V shape. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to thighs, shins or ankles. Glide your hands up, inhale, palms flat, down dog. Lift your left leg, step yourself into your crescent lunge. Then remember, we hinge here in letter T, standing on our left leg, right leg back behind us. Just do your best to bring that right knee into your chest, and we stand it up, and then we just see if we can kick ourselves in the butt. Our king dancer, right hand reaches towards right foot, left arm is up to the sky. We'll let it go, bend our left knee, take our right knee up and over, maybe a double cross for some. Arms out in front, left elbow on top as we give ourselves a hug for being so playful, being the playful kids that we are. We unravel into a chair, hands to your thighs. Lift your heart, inhale. Hinge as you exhale, slide your hands down, a little bit different. Move your blocks off to the side, palms flat, step it into downward facing dog. Lift your right leg back behind you, step your right foot forward and lower your back knee. Once we're here, keep your left hand where it is, reach your right arm back behind you, and just see if you can, with opposite hands now, opposite hand from foot, reach your right hand towards your left foot. It might help to have your left hand on a block or to have your padding, your folded blanket, underneath your left knee. 2 moments here. Let go of that back foot. Straighten your front leg. I like to bring my 2 blocks into the mix. Slide that right heel forward a little bit or not very far. You could kind of be on your way to a split, but probably a half split is more than enough. Let's just play with the sensations in the back of our right leg for a moment. Single pigeon, bend your right knee, take one of your blocks or something that you can sit on, and get yourself quite situated in a side saddle-y way. It's fine with me that you're leaning quite a bit over to the right as we fashion it, and maybe it stays here. Your right knee is bent, your back leg is looking to straighten, and you could pretend that you've got flashlights on your hip bones and that they both want to face that short edge of your mat. But like I said, if it ends up being a little bit over here, no problem. And sitting on something, highly recommended. We'll just take a couple moments to suss out what it feels like to have this kind of a hip stretch and, frankly, this kind of a hip stretch. So front of your back leg, front of that left leg, and what's called external rotation in your right hip. To come out of it, lean to your right. Bring yourself to all fours so that we can relatively easily bring our left leg forward. I know we're setting it up a little bit differently than we had on our first side. That's okay. Right hand down. Left arm now does the reaching back for your right foot. And you might want to block underneath your right hand and or padding underneath your right leg. Gently let go of that back foot. Straighten your front leg. You may choose to use your blocks the way I am. Slide your left heel forward, your right knee back to any degree, but just find a sweet spot where it's playful here as well. Doesn't feel like torture. It's also not boring, right? There's a little play there. You're getting the hit of something. And then start to bend your left knee and situate your block so that we can now sit our left hip on it. Totally fine to lean over to the left. might be that you think of those flashlights on your hip bones and that they both kind of face that front edge of your mat a little bit. And we're just here for a moment or two to feel all the feels. To come out of it, lean to your left so you're able to swoop that right leg forward, come off of your perch, and lie down on your back. Once we're lying down, scoot your hips to the left, let your knees drop to the right. You might cross your left knee over your right knee for a little lying down twist, otherwise known as a supine twist. And then we'll come down the middle, and this time scoot our hips to the right and let our knees drop to the left. Perhaps you cross your right knee over your left knee. And then we'll come down the middle and set up our Shavasana final meditation. So start with your feet as wide as your mat and your knees knock-kneed in on each other. Shimmy your shoulder blades underneath you and lift ever so slightly your hips up so you make space as they lower back down. It's great to stay just like this. It might feel terrific to you to straighten your legs. And then you can cover your body, close your eyes, or just soften your gaze. But it's here that we rest and digest. You're welcome to stay in your Shavasana final meditation as long as you would like. If it's time, give yourself a stretch, collect your knees into your chest, roll to either side, bring yourself up to any comfortable way to sit. And once we're seated, palms up or down. Again, you're welcome to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, or just divert your gaze. But for a moment, think of a place in your life that could use a little bit more play. Let's dedicate this practice that we've done together and wear it as proof that we can be playful and that we'll take that quality with us out into the day. Deal? I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for playing with me. I look forward to us doing this again together soon.